Welcome to the Boat Buyer Secret Weapons series, and we're finally doing a video all about jet boats. I've had this request from the comments for over a year now, and I'm finally getting it together. So here's what we're talking about. We're talking about jet boats. You've got the fiberglass jet boats, Scarab, Vortex, Yamaha. Sea-Doo used to do a jet boat. Glastron did one for a couple of years, and in the 90s there were several others. Sea Raider, Whaler even did a jet boat. You've got aluminum jet boats, Duckworth, Northwest, Weldcraft. You got the flat bottom boats with the, outboard with the jet drive on it, and river boats that you'll see out there. And then all of the outboard manufacturers, Yamaha, Mercury, Suzuki, Honda, Tohatsu, and Evinrude, may they rest in peace, all do a foot that's a jet drive foot. We're going to focus on the fiberglass jet boats. One, because that's where my experience is. I don't have the experience with the aluminum jet boats that they run up in the Pacific Northwest, that they run in the rivers through Colorado in that area. So I'm going to focus what I know, and we're going to dive in. So let's talk about the main difference in these boats that's obvious is the Scarab and Vortex are using the Rotax engines. They're a BRP engine that's used in the Sea-Doos. So they do thousands and thousands of these engines. They've got a 3-year warranty, 480 hours. They're closed-cooled, which means that they don't pull the raw water from the body of water you're in. They actually have a reservoir, radiator, I'll say, but a reservoir that cools the engine. So they also have a drive shaft sleeve. So instead of what Yamaha does, Yamaha runs Yamaha engines, the engines that they run in Wave Runners, a huge, thousands of engines that they produce a year that go in Wave Runners. They're putting the same engines in their boats. They've only got a year warranty. They're raw water cooled, so they're pulling from the source. If you're in salt water, they're pulling salt. If you're in a freshwater lake or river, they're pulling fresh water. And instead of having that drive shaft sleeve, they've got a clean out port. Now, what that means is if you suck a rope up, you have to open up that port. It's pretty easy access, and you can clean that out. Or you get into the weeds, some seaweed or whatever. Whereas Rotex says, hey, we're going to put a sleeve on that to eliminate that issue. It seems like it works pretty well, but it's a different way of doing it. Now, here's what I found interesting in a Fortune.com article from July of 2020. Yamaha holds a 42% market share in the personal watercraft industry. So the Wave Runner, out of the 80,000 units, they're just under half, and BRP Sea-Doos are 58%. In the boat market, Yamaha Boats has a 90% market share of the 6,000 units jet boats that are produced a year, which I thought that was really interesting. I knew they had in previous videos, I've said 70 to 80%, maybe higher. I didn't realize it was up into the 90s, but that's their market share. And we're going to talk about why, and we're going to talk if that matters for you as well. So let's talk just jet boats in general, because I think it's important if you're looking this line, it's not just which is best for me, but also is jet boats right. And I've got another video that there'll be a link up in the top right that you can click right now, but jet drives versus outboards versus stern drives versus inboards, RV drives, and which one is best. But real quick, we'll go over noise. The jet boat has a engine with a jet drive, not a jet engine, like I've said in many, many videos, and I'm sure I'll say it here today that the internet Karens out there will be all over me, but I understand it's an engine with a jet drive. It's got a higher pitch sound to it because it runs at a lot higher RPM. If you imagine the way a jet drive works is it's pulling from about midway from the boat. There's a little import where it's going to suck in the water. It's going to run it through the system, and it's going to run it through a small impeller, and it's going to shoot it out the nozzle, and that nozzle changes directions as you steer to control the boat. And now they're using rudders in the last 5 years or so. So it's running over the rudder, and it's steering the boat. Because it's such a small impeller prop. It's essentially as a prop is what it is, but it's inside, so it's an impeller, not an external propeller like you have in an outboard or stern drive. Because it has to spin so fast, those boats run at a very high RPM, and they have a higher pitch to them. Outboards are just quiet. You can barely hear most of them in the last 5-10 years, and the stern drives have kind of that rumble, is the best word I could come up for it. Kind of that deeper sound of a, essentially a car engine for the Volvos, and now the Mercuries have their own engine, but it's similar to the way a car sounds, a little bit deeper sound. The performance, a jet drive boat is sporty. There's just no getting around it. If you've ridden a jet ski, it's got that quick acceleration. You put the throttle down and boom, you're gone. It handles quick. It's super, super sporty. The outboards are quick out of the hole, very quiet, and the stern drive's just kind of that smooth. You put the throttle down, your nose comes up a little bit, you get up on plane and you go, and it gives you kind of a smooth performance. It's not real sporty, it's not real quick, but just kind of does the job. The ride quality, again, the jet drive is sporty, and what I mean by that is you don't have any trim. Your jet nozzle is going to be stationary, which means you can't change the angle of the boat. So you can't change the angle of the hull, which means if you're in real choppy water, you're gonna hit those much harder. The outboards, they have a good ride quality because now you can trim that engine, you can adjust the angle, and you can hit those waves a lot lighter. But the outboards are a lighter engine in the back of the boat and not as deep. The stern drive's way down deep in the water. They're a little bit heavier. You can trim the engine and they give you a much smoother ride. So the ride quality, relatively speaking, is excellent compared to the jet drive. Depends what you want. Not one's better than the other. It just depends. Do you want that sporty feel, or do you want that smooth kind of Cadillac luxury feel? And whichever is right is what you're going to get based on what you go with. So the ease of docking, jet drives, and I used to sell against jet drives when I would sell back in the 2009 to 2014 era. And hey, they were hard to dock then. They weren't using rudder systems. They didn't have a very good system for slow water maneuvering. But starting in about 2010, 2011, they came up with a docking mode on the Yamahas, which kind of slowed the boat down but gave you directional control. In like 2014, 2015, they started putting rudders on and a keel on the boat, and now docking those jet drive boats is much, much easier, and it's different, but it's no harder than docking an outboard or a stern drive. If you have somebody walk you through it, if you take your time and you practice, it's going to be just as easy. If you go with an older jet drive boat, you got to make sure you know how that particular one is equipped because it's evolved in the last 10, 15 years. Efficiency. The efficiency of the jet drives are good. Outboards are good. Stern drives are okay, depending on how you run them, how you trim them. But listen, you're not buying a boat for fuel consumption. You can go get your hybrid car if you want fuel consumption and low, whatever, low miles per gallon or whatever. You're buying a boat for fun, so don't buy your boat based on do you get better fuel economy or not. But the jet drives are good, relatively speaking. Maintenance on the jet drives, super easy. Change your oil and flush it. Winterization, super easy. Same with the outboard. It's change your impellers, change your oil and gear lube. Winterization's really easy. Stern drive, it's more intensive. So you've got to winterize. It's a more expensive, more involved process. Not difficult, but more involved. And there's a little bit more to maintain because that, especially if you keep the boat in the water, because that stern drive is always submerged. So I would give the jet drives the win there. Salt use, jet drives and outboards are both great for the same reason. They're easy to flush the engines. There's really not a whole lot. The jet nozzle is is in the water, but most of the internal components are protected. With the outboard, you can tilt them up, and the stern drive saltwater is poor. Don't get a stern drive in the saltwater if you can avoid it. There's a $6,000 to $8,000 repair per engine that you're going to need to do every 5 to 7, 8 years. The risers and manifolds, because that salt gets in there and it can't get out, and that's why the jet drives and the outboards win there. So that's the shortened version. Go watch that full video if you want to. Let's dive into the 3 manufacturers that are building boats now. So we've got Scarab, which is owned by Beneteau, and they're using the BRP Rotex engine, right? So you can see the pricing. They put that price right out there for you, which is great. Chaparral, using the Rotex engines, and Chaparral has branded their jet boat line Vortex. They've got their own separate website. They are keeping them separate, and I've got my suspicions as to why, but they're giving you the price up front. Now, with Vortex and Scarab, they've got a starting price, and you add the options, and the price is going to go up a little bit as you add in the options. Now, what Yamaha has done, and one of the reasons I think Yamaha has been so successful going against the stern drive market, kind of reviving the jet boat market, is one, the way they build their boats, but two, their pricing philosophy, which is they've taken what Honda and Toyota brought to the market, where the package cars, you've got the LE, the SE, and the Limited. Well, Yamaha's done that with boats and said, okay, here's the models that we make. We've got the SX, the AR, and the Limited. Now they've added a couple more with some Wake Series and the Fish model, but this is the boat, these are the options, you get to choose the color. That allows them to be very efficient in their manufacturing process, in the handling of their inventory, using just-in-time inventory. They can build the boats, and they don't have to say, oh, which one, how is this one being built? It's, hey, we're doing an SX 190, and there's 2 color options. Or some of them, there's 1 color option. If you get this boat, it's this color, and it makes it a lot easier for them to run their production lines, which makes them a lot more efficient. We'll talk about how that impacts you as a consumer. But Yamaha also has been building them for a lot longer, and they've got a lot more models now that they put into their lineup as they've expanded. Now, when you look at them from the top, they are very similar. If you notice, the one on the left and the one in the middle, it's Scarab on the left, Vortex in the middle, and Yamaha on the right. You can see, nearly identical layouts. They're using the U-shaped seating. They're using the center walkthrough. They both have the 2-tier sun deck or swim platform, which is phenomenal. It's one of the reasons why you may want to go with the jet boat, is if you like the sandbar, if you like to anchor out. I love that 2-tiered kind of back end of the boat where you're going to spend a lot of time. And they've got a crap load of room in them. These are all 19-foot and 20-foot boats. And there is just seating everywhere. There's just a lot of room because those jet ski engines that they're using don't take as much space. So the engine compartment's smaller, the access is smaller, and it gives you more room to do the cockpit. Now, over the years, Scarab got into the race in 2014. I think Chaparral's Vortex was introduced the same year. They've come a long way in the last 6-7 years. They've made some improvements the first couple years. Just like if you've watched some of my other videos, I say, don't ever buy the first edition of a new model. There's just too many things to work out, too many kinks to work out that they're not able to figure out in the prototype process. Even when they build their first hull, that first hull they make changes to the production after they build their first boat, and they continue to make changes over the first 3, 4, 5, 6 hulls in that first year. And then the second year, they're making all the major improvements from the things that out in the field, the dealers say, we had warranty on this, we had warranty on that, we got complaints about this, and they're always fixing it. So they've come a long way, and what's really happened is they've almost mimicked what Yamaha is doing, because Yamaha had it really, really dialed in. So let's look at warranty. So we talked about the 3-year engine warranty on the Rotax and the 1 year on the Yamaha, which I thought that was interesting that Yamaha still hasn't increased their warranty. My gut tells me that their Scarab and Vortex have worked that out to increase the warranty to have a selling point. And the Rotax, they've had some reliability issues, so I think they've gone out and said, hey, we're gonna stand behind our engines for a little bit longer to avoid that reliability issue that they've had over the last couple of years, especially 2018 when they introduced a new engine model. Like I said, new models, stay away from the first year, maybe even the second year, and let the reviews come out, let them work the kinks out. So I think that's part of it, but I'm really surprised Yamaha hasn't stepped up and extended their warranty. Scarab, limited lifetime, 3-year on the components, 3 years on osmosis, which is if you leave the boat in the water from getting blisters from water intruding on the gel coat and getting blisters on the bottom. Not super common in this type of boat. You're probably not going to leave it in the water. The Vortex. Listen, the Vortex website had a lot of broken links that you couldn't get to more pictures. My gut tells me if we hadn't had this major boom in boating in 2020 and 2021, that you might see the Vortex go away. I don't know what's going to happen, but with Yamaha having such huge market share, with Chaparral, they've got the Robalo brand, they've got the Chaparral brand, and Vortex is probably a little bit of a drag on the finances right now. You may see them drop out. That's strictly my opinion. I have no inside knowledge, just kind of a gut feel that, man, if you don't have your website up to date and things right on a major company like Chaparral, tells me you're probably not putting a lot of resources towards it. So I thought that was interesting. Yamaha, 3-year on the components, 10-year transferable on the hull, limited lifetime on the hull as well, but only 1 year. Now, the thing with Yamaha is everything goes through Yamaha, whereas with Scarab and Vortex, you've got Rotax handles the engine warranty, and then the components are run through the dealer, but will go to the component manufacturer in most cases. So the warranty process is a little bit different, but that's a comparison there. Now let's look at pricing. Another reason why, in my opinion, Yamaha is dominant is because they've got their production down pat. They haven't really changed anything major, so they're probably using the same hulls that they used, or the same molds and the same designs that they built 10, 15 years ago, at least 10 years ago. And Vortex and Scarab have, since 2014, they've had to adjust things and get it just right. So if you look at the pricing, and you can see this all on the website, I just took it directly from the website. Vortex and Scarab, they've got their base pricing. You'll add options. Yamaha this is the boat, motor, trailer package. It's packaged up. The dealer may split it for you, but Yamaha says, we're sending you the boat, motor, and trailer as one, and that's how you buy it. You can do what you want after that. So no options. The only options you can add is you can add tubes and wakeboards and apparel. That's the only thing you can add when you're building a Yamaha. But if you look, the pricing is significantly less for a comparable sized boat. Now, I didn't go model to model. It's just, this is the cheapest Vortex, the cheapest Scarab, the cheapest Yamaha in those size ranges. The wakeboard, or the wake surf option, which is ballast and maybe a screen and the tower, was just over $7,000 on Vortex, $7,500 on Scarab. Yamaha didn't break it out, but based on kind of some rough calculations, it's probably around $8,000 or so when you look at how they do their surf model, which is, I think, the 212 something. I don't remember what the moniker was, but that's the price on the actual price on the boat. Again, everything included. Now, So which one do I recommend? If you're looking to buy a boat and you're watching this video, go check out the U.S. Boat Expo. We've decided to offer that for free for a limited time. It's a bunch of different interviews with industry experts. I think you're going to get a lot of value from it. So go check that out if you're interested. Here's where I came in on the jet boat. Yamaha, number one. Vortex, second. And Scarab in a distant third. And I'll tell you why. The quality of the Vortex, I think it's probably a better built boat. Okay, so I think that they've done better construction. I think they've pulled a lot from the Chaparral brand and built a quality boat with quality material, quality parts and hardware. But I think Yamaha just blows them away with their pricing, and the Yamaha quality is good. I had somebody ask me, how does it compare to Sea Ray and Cobalt and Chaparral? It's not there. I would put them as a B on their fit and finish and their quality, but it's good. It's not crap. It's not cheap, but it's not top notch, but it's good. For the jet boat market, the way I see it is it's a fun, sporty boat. It's an easy way to get involved in boating. You've got the safety of the impeller versus having a prop. You've got the fun ride. You've got the inexpensive maintenance. You've got a lot of room. I just see it as being a really great boat. You've got the reliability that they've been building these for, 15, 20 years now, and probably not quite 20, but they've been building them for a long time, at least 15 years, super reliable. The engines that they're building are focused on reliability. Rotac's focus on their engines is on performance, which leaves some reliability questions in my mind a little bit from past history. And then you've got the added, what really pushed it over the line for me on the Vortex being second is I don't have a ton of confidence that the Vortex brand is going to be around, that the Scarab brand is going to be around. Although where Scarab does come in is they've got the 16-footer. So they've got that very inexpensive, smaller model that might just carve them out a little niche. But with only 5,000, 6,000 in 2020 fiberglass jet boats built and delivered in 2020, and Yamaha's got 90% of it, that doesn't leave a lot for Vortex and Scarab to split up. And the other reason why I put Yamaha ahead is those dealers have been servicing those boats for a long time. They're different. I sold at a dealership that went from being a Mercruiser only dealership to picking up the Yamaha jet boats because they were really taking off and the market came available. I liked them for the right people. I also had Sea Ray and Harris Pontoons, Boston Whaler, Scout boats. So I was very sure that if I put them in a Yamaha boat, that they were that sporty family, that they wanted that sportiness and the roominess. And it's something that, the stern drives are still there. The outboard fiberglass boats are still there. And I just don't see the numbers pushing towards Chaparral and Scarab. And then when our technicians got those boat in for service work, we didn't have much warranty work even in 2009 to 2014. Or no, 2011, I think, is when we picked them up to 2014. We didn't have much warranty work, but our technicians weren't real good at working on them in those first year or two. So, and that's we sold 20 of them a year. The Chaparral dealers that are offering Vortex may only sell 3 or 4 a year, and those techs never see them come in. They don't know much about them. My gut tells me you're almost better off taking it to a BRP Sea-Doo dealer to have your engine worked on if you need that type of maintenance, if you're having issues, because they're going to have better knowledge of how these engines work. So for those reasons, that's why I put Yamaha ahead. The pricing, the market share, and just the longevity. I know Yamaha's building jet boats next year and the year after. I'm not so sure about Vortex or about Chaparral and Scarab. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw them go. And then the quality and the not the quality of the technicians, but the knowledge of the technicians that are actually working on the boat. So that's why I put Yamaha up top. And I would love to hear your opinions. If you've got one of these boats, I would love to hear your experience. Hey, we found this. I know Yamahas are not perfect, and like I said, the quality, I put them at a B on the fit and finish. You know, the gel coat's not perfect. If you pound on the fiberglass hull, you know, there's definitely thicker ones, but for what you're paying for and what you get, they go number one in my mind. But give me your comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your experience. Put the year of the boat that you have, too. If you're going to say, hey, mine did this, put the year of it so that we know kind of what options it had and how it was set up. So give this a thumbs up if you found this valuable. I really appreciate it. It helps get this video out to more people. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Check out that US Boat Expo, and YouTube has recommended a couple videos. Thanks a lot, and remember, life truly is better on a boat.